This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with Gabe Scott, owner and founder of Nashville's hottest place to get tacos, Ladybird Taco. In today's Walk the Line episode, Ladybird Taco invites us to the opening of their brand new location in East Nashville. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch, and today I'm so happy to finally have these guys in the building right here. We got the OG founder of Ladybird Taco. They got 3 locations: Birmingham, Alabama, 12th South, Nashville, and now their brand new location in East Nashville. We got the one and only Gabe Scott in the building.
Glad to be here, man.
Gabe, man, thank you so much. I feel like this has been a little while in the making.
It has, yeah. Dreams do come true.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it just takes a while, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Gabe, we're talking a little off camera here, and, we're talking about how my Cowboys, coming from South Texas, man, it's been challenging with sports, and you were talking about growing up in Michigan.
That's right.
How challenging it is, and I'm guessing that's Detroit, right?
It is indeed. Oh. The Lions. I left Michigan a lot of years ago. I've been in Nashville a long time. My family's all still there, and somehow my heart for the Lions is still there as well. I can't give it up, even though they keep breaking it over and over and over. Yeah.
Well, as a Cowboys fan, I can honestly say I agree with you. They just keep breaking. I can't even remember. I was too young to fully understand what it was like to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But, I'm 32, so I'm not that young, but I'm young enough.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about it, that how, moving to Nashville, you were originally a touring musician.
Yeah.
And, one thing I realized, for all you folks that are watching this, I usually have to show people how to put on these headsets that we got, or so-called in-ears.
Yeah.
And I knew you were a musician just by the way that you were able to put them on without me having to direct you. So shout out to that, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I learned what I can.
So touring musician and studio musician?
Yeah. I've spent quite a bit of my career just saying yes to things. So it's like, do you want to go on tour? Yes. Do you want to play on a record? Yes. Do you want to produce a record? Yes. Do you want to make music for a commercial? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Which ultimately, I think with anything in life, when you're willing to just roll with it, if you have any interest in it, it turns out to be pretty fun.
I'm guessing that's where you got to experience a lot of your food experience there by
absolutely.
touring. You got to see where everywhere was and all the food. What were some of your favorite foodie items that you had as a touring musician?
I think my eyes were opened in a lot of ways. Austin in particular, I mean all over Texas, but Austin in particular, it's very much a food-centric city, offering a lot of different things. I like to say that Nashville, I mean, we're exploding right now in our size. But, we're sort of the younger sibling of Austin. What they were doing 4 years ago, we're doing now. And that with our population, but also with the food scene. And getting to be in a place like Austin and eat meat, like grill masters that, they're truly like pit masters that know how to do this this open fire cooking like nobody else in the country. It's a whole different thing. And then tortillas that are made like in the moment was what blew my mind and ultimately led to 20 years later wanting to open a restaurant.
What's hilarious about this is that we're going to talk about it right now, since you teed up tortillas. Tortillas is as I like to say it. First of all, when I think about Ladybird Taco and me living in Nashville now for going on 4 years, one of the things that I miss the most, because I'm from San Antonio, not too far from Austin, I miss H-E-B, and I miss their tortillas at H-E-B. And we were talking about it at your East Nashville grand opening. And what is the secret to those tortillas that are made specifically in South Texas?
I can't help but also say, like, H-E-B, I mean, it is a grocery store. And yet you can buy legit tortillas there.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen anywhere else in the country. It really doesn't. You go to Texas, you go to HEB, the grocery store, and even there you can find really great tortillas that are handmade, house-made. And it's quite often about the fact that there are fewer ingredients in the HEB tortillas, in the Ladybird tortillas, in authentic tortillas. It's just a few ingredients as opposed to a whole bunch of stuff added in, which means they don't hold for a long time. You have to eat them in within a couple of days. But it means that they have flour and they have salt and they have fat. You can use different fats, and different people do. Traditionally, in Texas, they'll use lard, which, to some people might sound gross, but it makes it really good. At Ladybird, we use butter.
We were discussing this because if you go right now, y'all, to your local grocery store, whether it's a Kroger, Publix, HEB, you name it, and if you don't buy a fresh tortilla, typically they're going to be in an aisle. They're going to be sitting there for who knows how long.
Absolutely.
And they have a lot of ingredients that people do not fully understand what's in those ingredients. That's why it lasts so long. Inside the refrigerator. But authentic, real, handmade tortillas literally last maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
Oh yeah,
maybe, and that's stretching it because you got to eat those tortillas quick, and they're best. Just like how you got them at Ladybird Taco, fresh.
Yeah, man. We didn't even plan that, and we both said fresh at the same time. That's good. We meant it.
Well, yeah, because well, that's the thing, right? When we're talking about tacos, and we're talking about street tacos in y'all's case, right, where they're in the foil. Another thing that I got to shout out to that because that's a big South Texas thing. There's just something about the way that a taco is. If you do not have a great base, which is the tortilla, I don't think you have a really good taco.
I couldn't agree with you more. I feel the same way. There are so many good. It's not to compare tacos to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I'm just saying if you have stale bread and you put peanut butter on it, it's probably not going to be good. Even though nearly every human on earth, besides the people that are allergic to it, love peanut butter. It's not going to be good. The carrier is where the magic can happen.
I don't know. Have you always wanted to be a business owner? Is that because it seems like from a creative standpoint, being a musician, where and even talking about the number system of the charts, right? You're able to ad lib. You're able to be creative and not have a structure of what's on the paper. But you talk about business. That is the ultimate structure on the paper.
Absolutely.
That is something that is completely different from. It's still creative. But you got to know when to turn the creativity off and turn it into a business. Did you always want to go into business?
I don't think so, or at least not necessarily a more traditional business. I think it's in a lot of creative people because quite often in the creative industry, not even by choice, you're just kind of forced to at least when you get started, make it happen yourself without the assistance of a group of other people. So you kind of have that built in, I got to make this happen. But being in charge of a bunch of other people in any way is a much different thing. And I don't know that I'm necessarily great at that. I'm probably okay at it, but I know people who are at coordinating a whole bunch of personalities and people all at the same time, outside of the context of a studio.
I think that's one thing I learned about when we interviewed Nick with Hattie B's. Is that he said, I'm not the best at anything, but I know who is, and that's how we're a great business. And I'm guessing that's the same take you guys do at Ladybird Taco, right? Where you're able to let go a little bit and let the people that are truly great, shout out to Brooks, by the way, to make things happen.
I miss you, Brooks. I couldn't have said it better myself. It truly is. Not only does it work, in my personal experience, I think it works even better to have a visionary or somebody who dreams something up. That's not normally the personality that's also good at executing something. So having that person in place, and then having people that can support that. So it makes this beautiful trio of folks that come together to create something, hopefully, that's beautiful and good. And in Ladybird's case, that's kind of how it went down. Idea, I'm not so good at doing this. I need help. Let's get some people that can.
How did tacos, and why tacos as the business?
I mean, the fun, quick answer is I married it. I married Texas. Somebody from Texas. So between touring there, spending a lot of time there through the years, and then as of this year, 20 years ago, married my wife.
Wow, congrats, man.
Thank you. That's 2 decades. Yeah, marrying it. So having been exposed to this thing so long that I like so much, that's honestly what it was driven by was I really love this thing, particularly the breakfast taco, because that's something I truly couldn't get here. I love it so much. And then a year would pass and I would only get it when I was in Texas, and I love it so much. And that happens for enough years. And in my case, like 17 years of doing this. And finally I woke up one day and thought, like, I guess nobody's going to do this. Maybe I should try. And that's not a joke. Like, that truly is, it was nothing more than that. And my wife being pregnant with our daughter and just saying, I wish I had breakfast tacos in Nashville. And me saying, yeah, me too. Maybe we should try. So as silly as that might sound, that's the truth. There's passion there. And when there's passion and desire and not an answer, let's try to figure it out ourselves.
Well, I remember our conversation at the grand opening at the East Nashville location that talk about passion and trying to create the best taco experience. You went out and you bought yourself an actual tortilla maker.
I did.
And for the folks out here that do not know what I'm talking about, it's literally, you'll see it in the episode, but at the very end of it, it's a crank. You crank out a tortilla made from scratch from this contraption.
Yep.
And it's very hardware looking.
Yep.
And I mean, tell me what it was like to build your tortillas from scratch. What was that like?
Yeah. In the beginning, it was like the punchline to a joke. Even the tortillas I was making were a joke, because I didn't know what I was doing. But it was, buying this relatively expensive, very heavy and hot piece of equipment. Like when you plug it in, it gets really hot. And then also getting a little circular plancha for the house. And those sat on our counter for about 3 years. I say sat on our counter. They were being used constantly by me trying to figure out tortillas, but that was the deal. I started with a bunch of recipes that you can find in books and whatever else. There's actually a book called Tortilla and has loads of options. Went through that, trying them. The punchline to the joke is I'm gluten intolerant, like legit. Like, I love gluten, but I can't eat it. So I would have to pressing these things, cooking them, and then handing them to my wife. And then eventually it got good enough that I was willing to invite friends in. We'd have little parties where people would try it. And I did that for 3 years, which is embarrassing to even say. Well,
what was the type? So when you would have people over for parties,
yeah,
would you basically just say, hey, we're going to have a Mexican food type party? Or what would you say to bring people over?
Yeah, whatever it took. Whether it was other food or just, hey, we're going to hang out and there's going to be a little snack or a little surprise. And hand these. And at the time, it was only flour that I was making, no corn. And so we eventually got to a place where enough people in the room agreed that I think this is the one. That's kind of how I have approached music as well. Like, I have a slight lean towards perfectionism, for better or for worse. And for the tortilla, for me, it's like, that's like you talked about earlier, that's the vessel that this thing is served in. So it's got to be, in my opinion, it's got to be great, the very best it can be. And then once I did, then figuring out, how do you open a restaurant?
Well, before we get on to how we open the restaurant, we got to thank the sponsors of the video. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Gabe, and we'll figure out how you make from an idea to a running business. We'll be right back after this. This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. What are the right times to build a taco with corn versus flour?
We sell so much more flour than we do corn. Like, on the bottom line, if you were only looking at numbers in a business, you would say, don't sell these corn tortillas. They take so much work. They make such a small impact on our bottom line, which makes me want to do it even more. Because it's beauty. It's like, it allows even more people to enjoy, like myself. I can still have a great taco, breakfast or lunch, in a tortilla that still only has 3 ingredients in it, and it's made the right way, and it feels the right way, I can eat that.
This is the way I look of corn tortillas.
Yeah.
I love flour tortillas, but
Sure.
corn tortillas are the best vessel, as you said, for meats,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that if you have like a real, and you people out there too, drop it in the comments below. Let me know. When I eat a corn tortilla, I want some type of meat that has the oil and juices in it, because what it does, it soaks up
Yep.
the juices in a corn tortilla versus a flour tortilla. It just kind of weighs it down.
Yep, it gets soggy. Yeah.
Is that kind of the same rule of thumb that you would go with it too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it converts everybody to believing that, but I'm with you. It doesn't hold together very well.
Yeah.
Especially with juice, and if it gets a little wet, it's going to want to fall apart. Even as you're eating, it wants to fall apart. And for some reason, that makes me smile, because I'm like, yep, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Talk to me what it was like to build Ladybird Taco in 12 South neighborhood before what 12 South is slowly becoming.
Yeah.
That street now here in Nashville does not look like it looked like 4 years ago.
No.
And when did you guys open up the OG restaurant?
Yeah, 2020. Horrible timing, but
Oh, wow. So it was 2020.
yeah, 2020. We were about 4 weeks out from opening when the shutdown happened. We were pretty intentional, even in 2020, about getting a spot that's 2 blocks off of 12th, off the road, but still in the neighborhood. It's truly a neighborhood spot. It's not a bunch of businesses. It's one building.
Ladybird, for all y'all that do not know, actually you let them know.
Yeah.
Who is Ladybird?
Ladybird Johnson, who was married to a very famous president of the United States, and she was a remarkable human being who spent a lot of her life caring about other humans. And she even, if you drive through Texas, you'll see between, in the median along the roads, you'll quite often see wildflowers growing, and that's an initiative. She was like, I want to try and bring beauty anywhere that we can, so that people can look out their car windows. Even if they're on a trip and they're bored, they can look out and see something beautiful, and it'll make their day just a little bit better. And I mean, I could cry thinking about somebody who actually takes the time, especially in a position like she was in, to care that much about something that seems so small, but if you go to Texas, it's beautiful when you're driving along and you see all these beautiful wildflowers. So she was a great human being, and she represents Texas so well that we were like, yeah, can we name it Ladybird? And we decided to make it one word instead of 2. Her name was always written Lady space Bird. Out of respect, we made it one word. But in the meantime, since Ladybird's been open, some of her descendants have actually come into the shop, and people that have worked with her or worked with her when she was still here. And have just said, like, oh, she would have loved this so much. What you're doing, and the fact that it is an ode to her. So, which, melts my heart. I'm like, oh, goodness. Somebody who did good in the world. We're pitching in a little bit now, too, trying to do something the way that it was supposed to be done.
I tried y'all's taco, and here's my question to you.
Please.
As a business owner,
Yeah.
who I'm guessing has to deal with the bottom line,
Yep.
What is the right price for a breakfast taco? The honest to God right price.
But honestly, it's like between $4 and $5 is the right price. You can find cheaper ones. They won't be the same. The ingredients won't be the same. They might taste well.
But every time I taste one of y'all's tacos, I'm always impressed by the taste of it, no matter
thanks.
what I paid for it.
Thanks. Yeah. Boy, that's a great point. A little bit of pain, even if there is a little bit of pain when I pay for something, whether it's food or otherwise, if it ends up giving me a good return on that money, it balances out. It goes away. And sometimes it maybe even overrides it, just kind of like, ooh, I can't wait to spend that much money on that again, because it's so worth it. And it turns out, I mean, with Ladybird, we genuinely, I partnered with these guys, and Chef Andrew, he's a phenomenal chef, and he comes from fine dining. He comes from not fast casual. House made is his love language. And so we adopted that at Ladybird because that's his love. Like, quite literally, everything that you eat there is made there, not just the tortillas. And that costs more money when you do things that way. When everything is house made, it costs more money to do it, but it is so worth it.
You know, let's talk a little bit about the expansion a little bit, going from there. So first of all, then after 12 South, you guys expanded to Alabama.
We did. Birmingham.
So talk to me the reasons behind Alabama and Birmingham.
Birmingham and Nashville are very similar to me in that Nashville's the older sibling. Birmingham's the younger sibling, but there's a lot of similarity. There's still so much culture and art in Birmingham in particular, and the food scene. Like some of the greatest restaurants in our country came out of Birmingham. So I mean, on a restaurant level, on a food level, that's kind of the similarity. It's like, oh, who's the sibling to Nashville? Birmingham. The other thing is just logistics, which is that we brought this guy that we've mentioned a few times now, Brooks Veazey, the president, the CEO.
Presidente.
Yeah, the driver. He's driving this limousine. Yeah, it's not a limousine, but he's driving it, and that's where he lives. So it just seemed right for the second location to be there. That way he could tend to it and make sure it's, you know, if we're going to try to repeat this thing a second time, how can we make sure it's what we want it to be? Have somebody that's actually there.
Have you seen a difference in ordering styles between Nashville, Tennessee, and Birmingham, Alabama? Is there, when people go to Ladybird Taco, are they ordering two different things in two different states? What does it look like?
I think ultimately, initially, yes. But once you're exposed to something long enough, I think you end up winding and finding your way to similar things, which is initially breakfast tacos. What? Especially in a place like Birmingham, like, what is that? And so initially it was largely lunch tacos being sold at lunchtime.
What is considered, all right, give the people the difference between a lunch taco versus a breakfast taco.
Yeah, so I mean, breakfast taco is going to be bacon, egg, and cheese, chorizo.
Papas and eggs.
Yeah, man. So we've got the migas taco, which is, you know, tortilla chips that are cooked in with egg while it's cooking, and so you get these kind of chewy chips. It's fabulous, but egg is the common denominator in a breakfast taco. And then when you turn to lunch, you know, you're not going to have eggs in it, and then you're going to have brisket, chicken. We have a couple of veggie tacos as well. But that's kind of the deal, is a tortilla with eggs on it. Go figure. And I think that's in Birmingham or most cities in this country outside of Texas, they're going to be like, eggs on a tortilla. What is that? And if they've ever had anything or have heard of anything similar to that, it's going to be, oh, you mean a breakfast burrito? No. You see, burrito, they have these gargantuan tortillas. That's a burrito. A taco is small and different.
What are the top 3 best sellers of Ladybird Taco?
Yeah, our tacos are just numbered as opposed to names. And the number 1, which is the bacon, egg, and cheese. So it's tender belly bacon, which is a high-end, fresh cut, real bacon, eggs, and cheese in a tortilla. It's fantastic. Now that we have it, the number 6, the migas, which I talked about with the eggs, cheese, these chips that are doughy inside of them. And then honestly, the lunch tacos as well, our brisket taco. We've got 2 of them. It's house smoked brisket, and it's very good.
Why didn't you name any of the tacos? I've noticed that. So for example, if you guys are going to Ladybird Taco anytime soon, you're going to notice that all of them are just numbered. They don't have a name to any of the tacos. Yeah. They're just all individually numbered. Where did that idea come from?
We just came to a conclusion that, like, a lot of times in Texas, there are places that work a similar way. Also, I didn't want it to be complicated. I didn't want it to have to be like, I'd like the bacon, egg, and cheese. That's not hard to say, but still, if you truly grow to like something, like, you can read it once and see it on the menu and say, ooh, I want that one. And quite often, newcomers will actually say, I'll take the bacon, egg, and cheese. And so then the employee, it's number 1. But you come a second time and a third time, and not only do you get to know each other even more, you and the tacos and the staff, but it becomes so simple to order. You walk in, you're just like, yeah, I'd like 2 1s and 1 3, which sounds difficult, but it's very simplified.
Now I'm curious, have you ever had a experience or a taco that didn't make the menu, a secret taco that you guys have on the menu or that you guys only do within your organization?
Yes, it used to be off the menu, and what we've decided to do is take these things that are off menu or kind of special. It's kind of like we had these ingredients, we can make this thing. We decided to bring in these tacos a couple times a year, and we call them the Good Bird, and which is another play on words, which I love. It's a taco that we can sell that will do good, so giving the profits to an organization that we like. And what that has looked like is a taco that was all veggie. And most of my friends or anybody who I told that I was doing this were like, ugh, because I was taking cabbage and I was taking broccoli and sweet potatoes and avocado and putting it in a tortilla with some Patron, salsa, and this is the best thing I've had. To the point that we finally thought maybe it should be a Good Bird, which that's part of the beauty of having something that a special or an off-menu thing that comes and goes is it creates a healthy desire, a healthy want.
You guys are on your third location, meaning that you have a familia that are really driving things home with Ladybird Taco here in Nashville. So, talk to me about why you guys use the term familia so much in the organization, but also talk to me about this drink that I heard that there was just part of the familia, a local fan came over so much that they ordered the same drink. But you tell them the story. Yeah.
It's, that's to me, the work between employee or organization and customer, that's everything. It's relationship. And a lot of beauty can come from that, in my humble opinion. If you smile at someone and mean it, and you ask somebody if you're going to ask them how they're doing, mean it. So that if they answer, they can mean it. This has nothing to do with bad days, but it has everything to do with a bond being formed with a customer that we had coming in. Her name's Allison. She wanted it concocted a certain way, and it was kind of like, oh, that's not on our menu, but the baristas would make it for her. And after she came, ate a lot of times, and it like as soon as she walked in, they'd be like, "There's Allison." They'd start making the drink, which again, not to get mushy gushy, but like. Both ways, both sides of that's beauty to me. The fact that she wanted to come back, she wanted to come back to see these people again, to be seen. And it truly brought the Ladybird staff joy to see her walk in the door, because they thought, if Allison's here, good things are here. And eventually we just thought, this drink is so good. Allison is so awesome. Her name was Allison G. Templeman. And so we have a drink on our menu called the AGT, and it's now a very popular drink that Allison still gets, but it's named after her, which and somehow this drink and this relationship was formed at a taco shop.
So much beautifulness comes from restaurants. And
great moments are had.
That is the point of a restaurant, and it takes that's what takes a restaurant from a normal everyday restaurant to something that they have a cult following for, that everyone's going after, is that feeling. If the owners view it that way, where something special can happen, then the entire restaurant is then elevated. East Nashville just opened up. Probably one of the areas in the whole Nashville area where community really means something in Nashville. How has East Nashville taken care of so far of the new Ladybird Taco location?
It's been really great. We had a really fun weekend last weekend, the opening weekend. Just so many folks coming in, quite literally from the neighborhood that we're in, walking to it, and coming in with smiles on their faces, with excitement, anticipation. Most of them moderate expectations, knowing, hey, this restaurant's only been open for 2 days, and having a blast with the people that they're with. Which makes us, and when I say us, loads of folks who are working their second day at a restaurant that they don't know anything about, it lifts them as well and makes their day. And I couldn't be I suppose I could be happier, but not much happier with how the reception has gone on the east side. So many folks that I love and have worked with through the years live on that side, whatever, the other side of the river. And so it's just so fun being over there and having a reason to be over there, even if I'm not playing a session or playing music. I'm going to go check in on the shop, which I did this morning. And even just this morning, walking in and having some great conversations with folks. I love it.
And what makes Nashville truly Nashville are the East Nashvilles, the North Nashvilles, the Nations, 12 South, Brentwood, Hendersonville. Yeah. These are all communities that people truly care about things, and that's what I love about Nashville. But anyway, this is your episode, so...
Oh, come on, man. I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so now I got a question here. Well, actually, before I do crowd noise, one more question about the East Nashville location.
Yeah.
So is this the first place where you can actually serve drinks?
Indeed it is.
What?
And by drinks, yeah, we can serve beverages, but this is the first time where we can serve beverages with any sort of alcohol in them. Yeah, by the time folks hear this, we'll be serving margaritas.
Talking about things that might change, let's go on to crowd noise, where we got friends of you that want to ask you questions.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, Ladybird, what are the most underrated ingredients that you could put in a taco?
Ooh, interesting. I think for us, one of the magic, definitely underrated going into it, now it's become a favorite, is crispy potatoes as opposed to soft potatoes, that's traditionally what's in a breakfast taco.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great, but it's a soft potato, and we intentionally chose crispy, like hash brown potatoes, to not just add the taste, but also add a new texture to tacos that you normally don't get at breakfast time. So to say that it's underrated now would be a lie, but going into it, that was something we were genuinely like, ooh, are people going to get this? I don't know if they will. And it's translated.
Have you had a failed taco experiment yet?
Oh, for sure. Trying to sort through veggie tacos can be interesting.
What's a no-go on a veggie taco?
Well, for a lot of people, when it's like, okay, they're going to put beans and cheese in a taco, whatever, it's still good. But a lot of people who only eat veggies are tired of eating beans all the time.
Yeah.
Which is what made the Good Bird Taco I mentioned for those folks. They're like, oh wow, it literally didn't have beans on it, which is...
I find it interesting because it's so cool that you knew going in the crispy potatoes. I've never had that before y'all's location.
Yeah.
I never had that on a tortilla or just in a taco in general. So I love that.
Thank you.
Let's go on to the next question here.
Is your favorite publication you've ever been posted on?
What is your favorite publication Ladybird Taco has ever been posted on?
Steve Hartman. I don't know if folks are going to know Steve, but Steve runs a show on TV called... he does a story on CBS Sunday Morning. He did an interview with me and my wife, like 3 years ago, something like that. And we're about to have a little reunion. Like, CBS Sunday Morning is my wife's very favorite TV show. So I'm pretty sure that automatically wins when you get talked about on something that your wife liked long before you thought about doing it.
Has it been fun to see influencers like the Nashville Hidden Gems and folks like Wine and Dine Nashville come into the shop and say, hey, top 3, I've even saw this on I don't use TikTok, but I know there's people that watch this that use TikTok, and said top 3 most underrated spots in Nashville, and Ladybird Taco is always number 1 in that.
Golly, man. Conversation like that, whether it's good or bad, honestly, because you can learn from negative reviews. But when you feel aligned with somebody because we're trying to accomplish this thing with tacos, but also with the way we treat people. And so when somebody receives that, it's like winning a trophy, and not one that you put up high on a shelf. It's one that you hold on to one end while the customer hangs onto the other one. It's like, we did it together.
Well, we loved the fact, me and the girlfriend loved being part of the guests of the friends and family when you guys had us over.
Yeah, man.
It made us feel amazing.
Yeah, good.
We really appreciated that. Now,
absolutely.
I got one more question here,
Please.
and then I'll do my last 2, and then we'll see your day in the life. All right, so let's see what this question is.
Successful day look like for you?
Hold on.
Successful day look like for
Cut
you?
off. What does a successful day look like for you, Gabe?
Yeah. Successful days are money is an automatic, which means we've got business flowing, so we don't have to worry about that part of it. And instead, we can focus on serving the very best that we can, food and human beings. And when I see customers chatting with an employee, it makes me feel like a proud dad that there's a connection being made. So, I mean, obviously it's a business, it has to succeed, but if I can set money aside, that's what success looks like to me. Somebody who truly comes in, is glad to be there, and we're glad for them to be there. And we're gonna work together, and that probably will end up including life, which continues to happen. Folks that happen to meet each other at Ladybird or with an employee, and then they end up having a relationship or a conversation outside of work.
So my first question always, and these guys know I ask it, always has to do with hate.
Yeah.
Or people, naysayers, people that did not believe in your vision. You may be going through that right now yourself. But what are ways that you allow people, or not allow people, how did you not allow yourself to hear the naysayers, the people that didn't see your vision at first, from creating just, tortillas on the side with friends, and then developing a business with more friends and more business partners? I mean, how did you not let that imposter syndrome break you?
I think when I was chasing down something that I had a lot of passion for, I had to eventually evaluate, why am I passionate about it, and get down to the bottom line for me, which was I'm passionate about it because I have love for it, and I think it's a craft. And not to be a smart aleck, but there's nothing anybody can say to take that away from me. And if you're passionate about something, whether it's, in this city, a lot of folks are passionate about music and a song, the latest song they've written, and they want it to be heard. If you're passionate about it, believe in it, because I think that passion plus belief equals success, and that doesn't have to mean millions of dollars. That means that you have the song and you want it to be heard,
and it's being heard.
Follow through. And if all that accomplishes is it being heard, and you don't make $1 million or $10, mission still accomplished for this passion that you have inside. If you're passionate about it, first, congratulations, because honestly, there are so many folks that quite often spend a lot of time on this planet and don't find that thing that truly gets them hyped up in a beautiful way. So if you've got it, chase it.
Now, what about the folks that are watching this right now that have an idea, they haven't gone off the ledge yet of starting their business? But what pieces of advice can you give to those people that are interested, about to start their own business, no matter if it's in the restaurant or business world, anywhere? What pieces of advice can you give them, because you did it? I think that this is a common advice, but not always, which is that I would tiptoe, meaning learn as much about it as you can, because we can have the passion that we talked about, but for something to then translate to other people, it needs to be very intentional. So come up with the whys, the WHY, not the WISE. Come up with the why that you want to do it. Come up with how you're going to do it. And just like I handed tortillas to friends for 3 years, whatever that thing is that you're wanting to do, that's a great way to start. The people that are surrounding you, keep bouncing it off of them. Even if they give you, that's not it yet, that doesn't mean stop doing it. That just means, maybe you haven't arrived yet. And if the passion's still there, keep doing it. I love it. All right, so my last question on the show before we go into your day in life. You'll tee it off, by the way, but we'll get there in a second. So by the time we're filming this in the top of April of 2024. This will be out in the middle of the summer. As crazy as that sounds. But what are you looking forward to, both professionally and personally, the rest of 2024?
Man. Personally, I'm super excited about a couple of things this summer, which is getting to hang out with my daughter more. She's 7 years old. She is vibrant. She loves life so much, and she brings so much joy to everybody she's around, including me, even when she's in trouble. So getting to hang with my wife and my daughter more consistently with school being out. But also, I'm really excited. It's whatever. It's getting to take a trip back to Michigan, where I grew up, going with a couple of buddies, get to play a little bit of music while I'm there. That's the excuse for going, getting to play a show. But we're all going to stay at my parents' house out in the country. So, a few grown men, middle-aged men, getting to go have a sleepover basically at my parents' house in the country, that sounds really fun to me.
Hey man, as older as we get, that starts the most simplest. Isn't it weird?
Oh man,
the older you get, the more simpler things that you did as a kid mean so much more today.
Oh, absolutely.
But speaking of that, now professionally, what are you looking forward to the rest of 2024 with Ladybird Taco and the team?
Yeah, I think the whole Ladybird staff are really excited about getting Inglewood in the place that it. Where it feels cozy and comfortable, and not as much like still trying to figure things out. Actually, I should change that because, like you say, that's already going to have happened by the time June comes. Let me phrase that a little bit differently. Yeah, I think with Ladybird, it's just getting in, finding the groove. In East Nashville, as well as scoping out. We want to keep growing this, not for the sake of that bigger is better, just for the sake that we think we have something good, and we want to spread that, if you will, that love. There's something that we try to abide by at Ladybird, to be caring, humble, and hungry. So that sort of encapsulates what I just said, which hungry meaning we want to keep growing this thing. Hungry as in ambitious, but we want to do it in a very humble way, which means we're still going to make mistakes and there will be bad tacos from time to time. And but we want to care for people, even when we're just serving them tacos and salads. How can we help?
Well, I love it. Okay, so now, Gabe, the way that we're going to tee off your day in the life, which we were lucky enough to film this ahead of time for the interview, and we still have more time. Maybe we'll go back just to have a margarita. I'm excited for that. And I'll let you know next time I go back for that margarita. But the way we tee it off is you look straight into that camera right there, you say your name, and you say, "This is how I walk the line." Just like the Johnny Cash song, "Walk the Line."
Yeah.
Okay, so right after the applause, look straight in that camera, all right?
Yep.
In 3, 2...
My name is Gabe. This is how I walk the line.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, yo, welcome to our shop in East Nashville. I'm Brooks.
I'm Gabe. I think it's time to order. Come on.
Hey, how's it going? What can I get for you?